Hello guys. So usually in this channel I made videos of driving the car going sideways and so on. But this time I wanted to make something else. I want to make a video about car rust repair. This kind of project, and there was a issue in driver's side seal. There was several rust holes and they were actually done by previous owner but very nasty way. There was a pretty rough looking patches on the side seal and so on. So let's go straight on the business. So I've already taken the factory spot welds out by drilling them, as you can see, and the old side seal is already been taken out. I've drilled the spot welds, like I said, and I've cut some part with the angle grinder, and and I've already cleaned the surface where the new side seal is going to come, and and I also need to weld a new patch underneath because otherwise there wouldn't be area nowhere to attach the new side seal. So that has been done, and I've used a zinc primer. It's basically a weld-in weld-through primer paint, and it's there only for preventing corrosion when I weld the new side seal on. Obviously there will be repaint, respray the whole area later on. And I'm sure if you can see, this camera isn't pretty good because it's just a cell phone camera, so it's not that accurate, but I think you can see mainly, as you can see, it's pretty good nick. The inner seal, there was some surface rust, but I grinded it away. And also I last spring resprayed this area, but it didn't went so well. There was issues with the base coat, so I need to redo that also. And actually, this wheel arch, there's already rust, so I need to take it out and put a new piece of panel sheet metal there. But right now we're in this stage. I hope this will proceed later on during this week, but this far that's all I've done. Okay, some progress. The outer side seal is now tacked on its place. I haven't done yet the final welds because I wanna see if the doors fit well. So I need to do that first before any final welding. And right now it seems fitting pretty well. The gaps are well relevant. They can be filled with welding, and there should be no issues or troubles that I will burn a hole and so on. And I also got the inner wheel arch sorted out. Original plan was to cut only some part of it, but it was so rusty I need to do it whole way through. So basically I took a sheet of metal and fabricated inner wheel arch from that by bending and hammering it. So it may not be so pretty, but I'm sure it does its job, and which is essential. I got something just to attach the outer panel on. And talking about outer panel, replace panel, I've got it here. I've already cut it and measured it. It fits nice there. So I'll do it later on. I haven't done it today because I need to wait that the zinc primer underneath dries up properly. And I've also sorted this out. There was a replace panel, and I got the piece of it. It fits here pretty perfectly. So that's also sorted out. So I guess next is to do the final welds. But obviously before that I need to fit the doors and check them out, the gaps and so on, that everything will fit perfectly before I start the final welding. So looking forward to that. In this point I've done the final welding, and let's start from the rear wheel arch. I weld the last final welds to it also by tapping and cooling down. It took me probably a couple hours actually to do this piece itself, and I'm not quite happy how the aftermarket panel fits, but I think after some body filler and sanding it'll be just fine, and after paint you would probably notice the difference that it to compared to OEM part. And before that I got already the side seal, outside seal welded up. I've done the final welds, and I've been grinding them flat, and also I spread some cheap primer to them just to prevent corrosion during the night, because I will be later on putting correct paint, and this is only for temporary use, to prevent corrosion in these few days, because this is quite moistured air in here and it may get surface rust to the panels, probably day or two time. So therefore I used that cheap primer with them. In this point I think up next it's gonna be masking the car up, do the prep work for the epoxy primer paint. Right now the prep work for the epoxy primer paint is done. I've spread body filler on the welding joints, and it's been sanded down now. I started from 80 grit all the way to 40 grit, and it's pretty flat now. And also I got the rear wheel arch done. It took me a couple times to get it that shape, but right now it's pretty nice and it's definitely ready for epoxy primer paint. There aren't no sharp edges or holes or anything in that. While I was taking care of the side seal and rear wheel arch and doing the repairs for them, I also noticed there was rust in driver's rear door. I grind the rust away and then I sanded down the edges, so it's now pretty flat. I also sprayed some cheap rattle can primer to it, so that's only for guide color. I use it as a guide color to see if there's any sharp edges or something that still needs to be sanding down. But right now, as you can see, there isn't, so it's pretty good nick, and it's also ready for the epoxy primer paint. Alright, one step closer to having the car finished. I've now done the primer, and there are 2 layers of epoxy primer, and on top of it there are 3 layers of acrylic filler, and it turned out pretty nice. There isn't orange peel or runs or anything that needs to be fixed before clear coat and water base. And I've noticed that using the right pressure is pretty important, especially on acrylic filler. And this time I had enough low pressure, and that basically avoided getting orange peel. And also the nozzle, the spray was pretty decent and easy to control. I don't know, this may sound like a cliché, but so far so good. At last, final respray is done. So there are now layers of water base, and on it there are 4 layers of clear coat. And look at that, it shines pretty beautifully. Considering that this is a home garage paint, all the variables, the moistures in air, I have to say it's absolutely bang on. Some footage from the driver's rear door. In here there are also layers of water base, and on it 4 layers of clear coat. Look at that shine. Look at that shine. I'd say this is, well, bang on too.